Good evening, Prime Minister. How far are you and your colleagues going to go tonight against Russia?
Well, we have a very, very difficult today. The situation is very grave. Everything that was predicted actually happened. We hoped that it's not going to happen, but it did. So we have to be very united on the European level and have to give a very strong signal. So, of course, strong sanctions, we have to agree on those. It has two effects. One is the deterring effect, but the other effect is punishing also the adversary, making the adversary weaker so that he can't make other steps towards the countries. And I must say it's a very difficult day because for us we have our Independence Day today. We celebrate our freedom today. So Ukraine is fighting for their freedom at the same time. We have to do everything to support Ukraine with practical tools, also military aid, also the financial support, but also politically. I think we have to give strong signals that European doors are not closing, NATO doors are not closing, and I also personally think that Putin is underestimating the strength of the Ukrainians to fight for their freedom and fight for their country. Thank you.
Do strong sanctions also include SWIFT?
We have the discussions going on. I think there are several elements that that could be on the list. So this is the agreement that we finally have, but yes, this could be one of those.
What's your position on it? Are you frustrated at the gradual approach, meaning how slow the EU has been with these sanctions?
No, because first there was only the recognition of those people's republics, so it was clear that we can divide the sanctions into two, but then the full incursion followed, where is that, now we have to put the full package that is there.
So did you see the videos of the Russian invasion, especially on your Independence Day, being so close by geographically?
Actually, there are 1,300 kilometers from Tallinn to Kiev, and there are 1,300 kilometers from Kiev to Berlin. So it's exactly the same length that we are from Kiev. So everybody should be equally afraid. Not only those countries who have, border with Russia, but also every other country. And I also think that for the whole world, I think all the countries should condemn this. We have the UN Charter that explicitly says that you can't do this. So if a country is doing this, I think every country in the world should condemn this, because otherwise there might be other big countries who get the ideas to appetite for the territories of their neighbors.
The Americans are talking about that the Russian goal could be or is decapitating the government in Kiev. What does that mean?
That means that the Kremlin's approach or ideally is to change the government in Ukraine and maybe put somebody under their control to run the country. But I hope it's not going to happen. I mean, Ukrainians are going to fight, so we have to support them.
You fear for the president's life?
We have been in that part of the history. So after the Russians came in 1940s, there were also lists and people were executed. People were sent to Siberia, and we suffered, very big atrocities due to this. So I think we should be aware, and I'm petrified that these things can happen in 2022. You thought that those things are all past, and now it's all happening.
Are you worried that after tonight's package, the EU will have no more ammunition left?
EU is the economic power, so definitely the tools that we have in our toolbox are also economical sanctions. But I have been thinking there are also other ways. For example, Ukraine could also sue Russian Federation for the damages that they have caused to their country. And by this, there's also the implication on those, payments that the European side or any other country has to make to Russia, so they can keep and withhold those payments and pay those out to Ukraine. That's also maybe a very fresh thought, but there are other tools in the toolbox for all the countries to think about, not only European Union countries.
What do you think about the security situation of your own country? Aren't you afraid that this conflict might just blow up and escalate and we will be all in it?
We should all be afraid, but we don't see direct military threat at our borders right now. Of course, we see cyber attacks, but we are maybe more used to those. Every country should be also aware of the cybersecurity situation in their countries. So I think equally the whole Europe should be very concerned regarding what is going on in Ukraine.
Do you think that Western Europe was rather naive when it comes to Putin?
We definitely have more know-how of how Russia operates, and it is not a democracy. So Kremlin and Putin's administration is not thinking like we are thinking, and we. Therefore, it's very hard to understand for the Western world who haven't really experienced this on their skin.
So Macron was too fresh to go to Moscow.
No, I don't think it's wrong that the different countries wanted to have a dialogue with Russia, because everybody wanted to keep them doing what they're doing right now. So I think all the efforts are necessary for a dialogue. But what we see today is that Russia was just playing. They didn't have any wish to really have a dialogue. I think their idea was to try to pressure something out of NATO, out of EU, some kind of concessions in addition to, Ukraine. But I'm glad that our unity kept and no such concessions were given, even small ones. I think it's important. Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.